happy or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished.
Brings the crowd to its feet with a big smile. And the Lakers are the 2000 NBA champions.
Once upon a time, a legend named Kobe.
Bryant for the win. Bang!
Feared by many of his opponents, yet equally as respected.
Playing against Kobe is like playing against a grizzly bear. If anything, any fear in you that shows, he's going to expose it.
Buckle up for Kobe Bryant! Kobe Bryant just sucked the gravity!
Inspired and continues to inspire many of the greatest young talents today.
Got it! Wow!
These are 10 of my favorite tough or impossible shots from Kobe Bryant throughout the 2000s.
High above the three-point line, Kobe turns and faces Kirilenko right up on him. Kobe trying to create some space, goes baseline, gets a couple of defenders in the air, and makes a tough 15-footer.
The two best defenders on the Jazz team, Matt Harpering and Kirilenko.
Can't even find this one on YouTube. Had to hit up Instagram. But man, what? Drives into a double team, fakes them both out of their shoes, looks like he was about to unnecessarily spin around the other way, then he stops and squares his lower body back to the starting position. How do you even obtain the balance necessary to pull this off at game speed without tripping or traveling? I've never seen this anywhere else at any time, and I doubt that we will, at least not on purpose, seriously. Who's about to try this in a game?
Bryant calling for the ball, James on him. Bryant falling away, puts it up, puts it in. What a tough shot from Kobe Bryant.
This shot, which feels iconic to me, put the finishing touches on what was only a 19-point night for Kobe. But more importantly, looking at the score, it pretty much sealed the momentum for that game in what was expected to be their final matchup a few months later. We never truly did get enough Kobe and LeBron, being that they always played in opposite conferences, and with no eventual finals meeting, we were left to settle for the few moments that they could carve out together like this. That's probably why it's one of my favorites. Not to mention the move itself was just drop dead gorgeous. You could barely play better defense than LeBron did here, but that minimal amount of space Kobe created with this move, that was all he ever needed. He tossed up a rainbow and smoothly hit his target as if he were in practice, except he was going right at his competition for the best player in the league title. Just incredible.
Payton. Bryant out top against Patterson. Kobe cannot get Patterson in the air. A wild three. Hit it. Payton to inbound. Bryant for three.
2 for 1 here. I personally consider the first 3 to be the toughest shot of his career, although being that he's got a whole compilation, who really knows? He'd given Patterson, who was the alleged Kobe stopper at the time, every move he had time to by this point, and he just went for none of the fakes. That's when Kobe did what he was best at and just improvised. Thing is, how do you improvise a shot multiple feet behind the 3-point line at the end of a game, meanwhile your defender has built a solid wall while you've given up your dribble? This might have been one of the times to pass to a wide open teammate, but nah. The second shot, however, while still incredible, is really just more aesthetically pleasing as opposed to as impossible as the first one. I mean, not to downplay it, he still had to gather the ball, turn around, and then fling it with defenders running at him with a flat second left. But for Kobe, this is as good as an open shot. Still, the fact that he just wouldn't let this game go. It wasn't like Portland was a team they were about to see in the playoffs or anything, but his will to win this game was as if it was the final seconds of a title match. It's simply what separated him.
He's got that game.
Couple of fakes. Shot clock at 2. He's got to put it up. Tries to bank it. Does so. And a foul. Kobe Bryant, brilliant here in the third quarter, and the Lakers up by 22.
Kobe's 2009 final series against the Orlando Magic is probably my favorite from him. The determination he had not to go down for a second year in a row, in a series that was closer than people actually remember. You could just see it on his face the entire time. This shot signified that. Petrus had done just about everything he was capable of for this particular play, but that's kind of how Kobe broke Orlando defenders that year. No matter who they threw at him or how well he'd been guarded, he was getting his shots off and most of the time in. That gets demoralizing over the course of a series.
Crowd on its feet chanting defense. Smith now trying to defend Kobe Bryant. Shot clock at 6. Bryant for 3. Puts it in! Kobe Bryant from downtown! And the Lakers regain the lead.
Perhaps perhaps Kobe's greatest talent, simply creating something out of absolutely nothing in clutch moments. This was at a time where the Nuggets series could have gone either way. It was tied 1-1, next game was home for Denver, and had they have gone up 2-1, who knows how the rest of this goes. So with the Lakers down 2 with about a minute remaining, and no real action going on with under 10 seconds on the shot clock, Kobe just said, "Fuck it, I know you can't actually stop me." Or something like how he used to put it, quote, "kickstarting the offense, no need for screens or set plays." And with that shot seizing momentum of the game, LA added to the statistics sitting right here, where the winner of Game 3 of a tied series often went on to go ahead and win it. So what if he missed this and the Nuggets won? A lot of moments in NBA history that seem commonplace were oftentimes more at jeopardy than we realize. Oh yeah, and the famous overbite. This is really when you knew the game was over. So I'd like to see a stat on this. How many games, if ever, did the Lakers lose when he pulled this out in a clutch moment? I don't have any off the dome.
The big 6-0. Gotta pick it up. Here comes Kobe. Hard to believe. Are you kidding me? Unreal! Are you kidding me?
Okay, seriously, what the hell? This came on a night where he was in complete takeover mode already, as evidenced by his 65 points, so shots like this tended to fall from the sky when he was like that, but still. We praise Ray Allen's 2013 3 for the fact that he was able to back up and find that space between the three-point line and out of bounds without any violations. Kobe dribbles towards out of bounds in the face of a double team, has absolutely nowhere to go, bumps one of the defenders as he turns straight into the perfect contest of another, and perfectly squares it as if he was in a shooting drill in an empty gym. Where do you even start to come up with some shit like this? That's an air ball or side of the backboard for the majority of hoopers on this planet.
Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! Oh, he banks in the 3! And the Lakers win the game!
Just one of his most iconic game winners, of course. He was originally being chased by two guys here, drove into what easily could have been a trap at the top, lifted off of one leg over D Wade, by the way, and calls glass. What? This was one of my favorite things about Kobe, his appetite to go straight at the best players in his profession. This shot makes no real sense, and it came at a time when Wade was making runs at being the best two guard in the league. But my favorite part came after this though, in a video I can no longer find. Wade and Kobe were in the hallway discussing the game winner, with Wade admitting he thought it had no chance. I'm sure it'll turn up somewhere after this video drops, but these moments that just live in my head, YouTube is no help sometimes.
43 seconds left.
He wants some isolation to work with Brown.
Down to 3 seconds. Kobe lost a dribble. In a hurry, he has to pick it up. Desperation 3, my goodness! Kobe Bryant puts the Lakers up by 2.
The Mavs really thought they had him here. Well, they did. Decent switch, and he dropped the ball where it looked like he might have been about to shoot, followed him all the way to the edge while he was off balance, and if that had been anybody else, they'd probably just got a game-saving stop. Again, just something out of nothing. At the end of a game where players are normally tired too, you simply can't teach this. It was always hilarious to hear people talk crazy on Kobe's name like he didn't have a whole compilation of shots like this.
Formal. They had 7 in the fourth quarter the other night and played through it.
Good point. Battier watching Kobe. Scooping, driving, and putting it in! How in the world did he do that?
I loved the Shane Battier and Kobe matchup. He was one of his most fearless defenders, and if you just looked at him and didn't know him, hell, you know in 10 to 20 years he'll probably be one of those guys they call plumber. Anyhow, in this specific situation, it was as if Kobe was sending a message. It was in the playoffs and Houston had already stolen game 1, and Battier was tasked with making life as tough as humanly possible for Kobe. Still, this was his 40th point. While they were up fairly comfortably at that point in the game, and instead of deferring or looking elsewhere, he took the tough defense and made it a point to show it wasn't gonna bother him. And by the way, I'm sure he was fully aware throwing this off glass that this was 7'6" Yao Ming down there, who could have easily corralled it, and so this was basically the middle finger to Battier, and I'm not scared of your big ass center either. The only thing that could have possibly made this better would have been finishing it as a dunk, but for the year 2009 this was good enough. Point proven.
Ray Allen all over Bryant. Bryant on the drive. Kicks it into Bryant. Back out Bryant. Shot clock at 7. Bryant leads, falling away. Puts it in! And the Lakers take a 1-point lead with 7.3 remaining. What a clutch shot once again from Kobe Bryant.
This shot still bothers me to my core this day. Yes, I'm still mad. I'm still salty. The 2010 Celtics-Lakers rivalry was so damn intense. With Boston struggling throughout the season, many had written them off, and specifically because they weren't winning games like this against contending teams, even if they could stay competitive in them. Still, this was the one time Boston got to play Kobe that year because he was hurt in an earlier matchup, and I wanted to get them so badly. Just one time before we might see them in the finals. And it's so bad I can remember this commentary word for word in my head. Bryant leans, falling away, puts it in. Haunting, bro. And still, I used to practice this move outside because it was the ultimate defiance of defense to me. Ray Allen had done everything except foul. It just didn't even bother Kobe. And then he walked off so damn smug, like these Celtics were just nothing to him anymore. I've never gotten over it, but that's probably why it's one of my favorites. Imagine one shot in the regular season over 10 years ago still in your brain. I had it downloaded on my PlayStation 3. I was trying to use it to end games against my friend. Oh man, many people criticize Kobe for his playstyle when he was here, but if your team was clamped up and needed a bucket, there was not a better option for a while. I just hope we get somebody like him at least once more in our lifetimes.